The next one that we're going to do is a See, Think, Wonder. Again, this could be a screenshot from that building background video that you just had, or you could choose a different picture. Now, the Listenwise resources have tons of pictures. Karis is going to show you about that anyway, but really any of the resources that you use before students are asked to listen to a longer video clip or a podcast with lower context, build the background through really taking time with a visual that builds the vocabulary and the context that they're about to hear. This strategy called See, Think, Wonder comes from Harvard Project Zero. And Ed Webb, if you wouldn't mind dropping that in, it's Harvard Project Zero, and they're free online resources. You see Think, Wonder. It is not mine. If you've not done this with students, it is one of my very favorite for building vocabulary, background, and curiosity for any unit. It's one way I start most of my units. So we'll start with the chat. Let's start with the first part, see. What do you see in that picture on the screen? And you can just complete the sentence frames in any way you want. You don't have to write the I see or I notice. Great. We see food, two people. Great. We see people making food, cooking, dumplings, family. Oh, I'm going to take family in just a moment. That's great. Bonding, I'm going to take as an example. Containers, thank you. You notice, oh, we see a mom and a daughter. I'm going to take that one. Thank you. So if you can see it, you have to be able to label it. And what a lot of you are doing, which is great, is you're going to the next step. You're making inferences. Beautiful. So what I would do with the students is just like with you, I would have them partner instead of in a chat, right? We're in a team, and you back and forth. I see a red sweater. I see dumplings. I see a bowl. I see a spoon. I see red diamonds. I see whatever it is that you can actually label. Now, some people like Michelle are saying, is it Chinese New Year? She's starting into the wonder. Now we're jumping into the next step. So once I label everything on the slide, just like the students are saying, like red shirt, these should be able to be labeled hand, dumplings, anything I can label. You can see the squash on there. We can continue. Look at the vocabulary I have built. Now, what many, many of you went to is the I think. You made a beautiful inference that you see a mother and a daughter. Now, I actually can't be sure that's a mother and a daughter. It looks like it because there's a younger woman and an older woman and they're working together, but it could be an aunt and a niece. It could be friends. It could be a teacher and a student. It could be a lot of different things. So what we do now is get to inferencing. Inferencing for our multilingual learners with text is really tricky, but with a visual, inferencing is a skill that they can succeed at. And you've already demonstrated that by showing that in the chat. So Itamar, I love that you're saying it's a cooking class. That's a good inference. You think it's a cooking class because two people are cooking. It could be preparations for Chinese New Year at home, but you made an inference about it being a cooking class. This is awesome. Please drop in the chat those inferences, and you can just fill in the red dots. You don't have to type the whole thing. What are your inferences? What do you think is going on in this picture and why? What do you infer about what's going on in this picture and why? Go ahead and take that time now. Yes. So you think it's a mom teaching a teenage daughter to make dumplings. That's beautiful. You think they're celebrating Chinese New Year. You think that it's an older generation teaching a younger generation. Oh, somebody thinks it's a fundraiser. I would love to know the because on that one. I love that it's a bonding through cooking. They're passing on the tradition of making dumplings. These are these cultural settings, and it's building background for our students for what they're about to learn in the podcast about cultural lessons that we learn with each other. These inferences are beautiful. And just like I'm doing here is like reading what the kids said, the students, you're my students in the class. I would have them share with each other and then share out loud, and we would chart it just like you're doing here in there is chart your thinking. And the follow up, like when someone said, I think it's a cultural lesson, I said, oh, what makes you say that? Um, I would follow up with what is the text evidence, the picture evidence, plus your background knowledge that makes you come up with that inference, which is a great inference. We have just taught students what inferencing is, using the evidence in the text, the picture, plus my background knowledge of cooking with my mom, for example, on a holiday. And I put the two together to create an inference. I love that some of you are making connections to standardized testing like the TELPUS. Thank you so much for putting that in there from Texas. That these are really powerful ways of supporting our students with the skills they need in other situations. It also builds their ability to listen closely later. So we're building that background knowledge before the listening. Beautiful. So that's the think. And you can see how rich that part is. In my classroom, sometimes we get through the see and the think, and we don't even get to wonder until the next day. And that's what the next step is. So now just jot some questions. What do you wonder about what's going on in the picture? You wonder if or what or who or where or when. And if you would jot some questions in the chat, that would be great. Yeah, who are they? That's beautiful. What are they making it for? What's the preparation? Who is the food for? When will they get to eat? Does the younger girl enjoy this? What's the recipe for? These are great. What's the purpose? Would the girl rather be with her friends and she's rather not there? How long does it take to cook? Are they having fun? What's inside the dumplings? Wow! What's in the white bowl? Do you see? We are generating this curiosity all based on this one picture. And I chart those. And then if the text that we're going to read is about this picture, the students can look for those answers of their questions in there. Or it can be a launch into an inquiry-based unit. It can be launched into individual students researching different pieces. I love this. Is this recipe being passed down? Is the recipe written somewhere? Can anyone make this? I mean, these are so beautiful. Is the girl visiting her grandmother in a native country? Oh, these are wonderful because it sets us up for what's going to come in the listening. I'm just getting goosebumps. These are so great. So that's See, Think, Wonder, and how powerful this really zero prep. You just need a good picture that launches into build the background for what you're going to be hearing next.